Hello everyone, it's Harmony, and welcome to the visual dungeon guide for Cutter's Cry. This is an optional level 38 dungeon that you can unlock by completing the quest called Dishonor Before Death. I'll pin the full details on how to unlock it in the comments below. Before we dive into the guide, there's something important to watch for. Throughout the dungeon, you'll see areas where sand is erupting from the ground. Standing in these will deal damage and knock you back, so make sure to avoid them as you make your way through the dungeon. I also want to point out that this dungeon is a giant cave that is divided into a series of chambers. To progress through the dungeon, you'll need to defeat most, if not all, of the enemies in each chamber. Once you have defeated the required number of enemies, a shifting sands portal will appear. Interacting with it will transport you to the next chamber. The first boss is the Myrmidon princess. This boss will periodically summon creatures to assist it in combat. When that happens, you'll need to prioritize defeating these additional enemies as quickly as possible to avoid getting overwhelmed. Stone 2 will target a random player with a circular area of effect. To avoid it, simply step out of the marked telegraphed area. Silence will prevent a random player from being able to cast spells for a short time. You can interrupt this attack by using abilities that stop actions, such as head graze or interject. Mandible Bite is a frontal cone-shaped area of effect. To avoid it, simply step out of the marked telegraphed area. Eventually, the boss will summon a single Myrmidon marshal. The marshal will tether itself to the boss. While tethered, the boss will take significantly reduced damage, so be sure to always prioritize taking the marshal down first, before you switch your focus back to the boss. These mechanics will now repeat until the boss has been defeated. The second boss is the giant tunnel worm. This boss periodically uses Sandstorm, an instant and untelegraphed frontal cone-shaped area of effect attack. Because of this, the tank should always take extra care to face the boss away from the rest of the party. Sand Cyclone targets a random player, dealing a small burst of damage and applying a powerful damage over time debuff called Sludge. The healer can cleanse Sludge with the Asuna spell. The boss will burrow underground and cause sand pillars to erupt. Be sure to stay clear of these moving sand traps as they cross the battlefield to avoid taking damage. The boss will eventually burrow underground a second time before using Bottomless Desert. This will deal unavoidable damage to all party members and pulls everyone toward the center of the battlefield. You must quickly move towards the outer edges of the arena before the boss bursts out from the center of the battlefield, which will damage anyone who's too close to the boss. These mechanics will now repeat until the boss has been defeated. In the next and final chamber, the sand traps are replaced with blue cerulean vents. Standing in a vent inflicts damage over time before exploding, dealing heavy damage and knocking players back. Be sure to avoid them as you make your way to the third and final boss, the Chimera. This boss periodically uses Lion's Breath, an instant and untelegraphed frontal cone-shaped area of effect attack. Because of this, the tank should always take extra care to face the boss away from the rest of the party. The Ram's Breath is a cone-shaped attack from the boss's goat head. Being hit will deal damage and slow your movement speed. To avoid it, simply step out of the telegraphed area. The Dragon's Breath is a cone-shaped attack from the boss's dragon head. Being hit will deal damage and paralyze you. To avoid it, as before, simply step out of the telegraphed area. The Ram's Voice is an untelegraphed circular area of effect centered on the boss. Being hit will deal damage and inflict a powerful damage over time debuff. To avoid this attack, you need to move away from the boss before its casting is complete. The Dragon's Voice is an untelegraphed donut-shaped area of effect. Being hit will deal damage and paralyze you. To avoid this attack, you need to move close to the boss before its casting is complete. Lightning Storm will target 2 random players with a circular area of effect. To avoid it, simply step out of the telegraphed area. The boss will move to the center of the battlefield before casting Cacophony, which will mark 1 player. An orb of lightning will travel from the boss, toward the marked target. That player must move away from the orb while also keeping it clear of the rest of the party. This orb will eventually explode after a short time, or instantly if it reaches the marked target, dealing damage and inflicting paralysis on anyone nearby. These mechanics will now repeat until the boss is defeated. Thank you for watching. If you found this guide helpful, please like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and, most importantly, take care of yourself and each other.